They called us the weakest species in the galaxy, soft-skinned, short-lived mammals who barely survived their own homeworld. When Earth received its first invitation to join the Galactic Council, the alien representatives couldn't stop laughing. Our technology was primitive, our military laughable,
It is a necessary
our diplomats
formality.
awkward and stumbling over words they'd never
Your
heard
hierarchy
before.
demands
The
much
Vortec
of us.
Empire had
It
ruled
is the
for 10,000
protocol.
years.
Compliance is
The Crystal
required.
and Zephyrians
And
controlled
humanities?
trade across
What is the
17
assignment
sectors.
status of the
The
protected
hive-minded
dependents?
Krell
Their status is under
commanded
review
fleets that
pending
could glass
capability
entire
assessment.
star systems.
You are being
And then there were
relocated to a
humans,
protected
the
facility.
species that took 300
Relocated
years
for our
just to
protection?
figure out
It is
how to
necessary.
leave their own planet. But the universe has a twisted sense of humor, because while they were busy dividing up territories and deciding which worlds to strip mine
Humanity's
next,
technology is
they forgot
insufficient.
one
Your
crucial
military is
detail
minimal.
about those
Your
harmless
cultural
little
offerings
humans
are lacking.
from that backwater planet called
The
Earth.
gaze is way on me.
They forgot to
Your
ask what
resolve is
Americans
clear.
do when someone
Relocate
threatens
to
their
preserve the
family.
monument.
Now, as the last of the great alien empires
Earth is a
burn
zoo.
in the void of
How
space,
amusing.
as their invincible fleets drift as debris among the stars, and as their
You
ancient
want to make us a
civilizations
zoo.
crumble to dust, one question echoes through the dying halls
The phrasing
of
is
power
not
across the
inaccurate.
galaxy.
However, you overlook
What
right
kind
the
of
culture of the
monsters did we
affirmation.
awaken?
It is not a threat.
The answer is simple. They didn't awaken
Translation
monsters.
device active.
They awoke
Now, for the
Americans
notes.
who were told
Their casual dismissal
their
is noted.
children
The
would
folder
be
is prepared.
slaves.
My
The
family,
first
my
thing Ambassador
anchors.
Sarah Chan
From fields
noticed
to
when she
frontiers,
stepped off the
humanity
transport
thrives.
shuttle was
Their
the smell.
dreams
It
fuel my
wasn't
resolve.
unpleasant,
Factory
exactly,
workers,
but it was
entrepreneurs,
alien in a
teachers.
way that
They
made their
build,
human
they
brains
innovate,
struggle
they
to
teach.
process it.
This is our
Like
resilience.
ozone mixed with
I
something
appreciate the
floral,
offer, but
with
on
an
behalf of my
underlying
species, I
metallic
must
tang
decline.
that spoke of
We will
advanced
chart our own
technology
path.
beyond Earth's understanding.
The Alliance
The
refuses
Galactic
your
Council's
request.
orbital station
Earth stands
mixes
firm.
prime,
Refusal.
stretched
This is
endlessly
unexpected.
in all directions.
It is final.
Massive viewing ports revealed
The aliens
swirling
have
colors
assessed
of the
humanity's
nebula
first
beyond,
contact
and
as a
beings of a dozen
mystery.
different species moved through corridors that seemed to shift
Give
and
me your
adapt to
tired, your
accommodate their
poor,
various
your
forms
hub of
locomotion.
masses yearning to breathe free.
Chen had spent 2 years preparing
57
for this
years
moment.
ago, we planted this flag
As
on the
Earth's
moon.
first ambassador
It
to
wasn't
the galaxy,
easy,
she
but we did
carried
it
the
with
hopes of
primitive
8
tech.
billion people on her shoulders. The weight of that responsibility felt heavier than the ceremonial diplomatic case handcuffed to her wrist,
Yes,
containing
this is
Earth's
acquired
formal
ill
application
conflict.
for
This is
membership in
ended
the
with the
Galactic
white
Council.
duration,
For
your
escort,
sponsors.
a tall being with blue-green
The
skin and
obliteration
6
of
graceful
concerns
arms
is now complete.
gestured with what Chen assumed
Our military
was
reach
politeness
is now
toward a
global.
transport pod. Ambassador Chen,
Your
I am
primitive patrol
diplomatic
boats are
aid.
no match.
Vexhari,
You are
the
chemical
council awaits your
explosives.
species presentation.
I agree, our current
I must
technology
warn you,
is
however, that
primitive.
the proceedings today
Indeed,
are
we can offer
largely
assistance.
ceremonial.
General, what is your name?
Chen raised an
We had to
eyebrow.
develop this technology due to constant
Ceremonial?
concerns. This
Your
adaptive
species has
innovation
already
ensures
been
our progress
evaluated,
remains
Ambassador.
resilient.
The Council's xenobiologists, military assessors, and cultural analysts have submitted their reports. Today is merely a formality before
65
the
years
assignment
ago,
of your
a
species
three-sheep
status within
crop.
the galactic community.
5 years
The
were adapt
transport
past
pod moved
adapt.
through the station's interior with smooth efficiency.
Observe the belt's
Through its transparent
transformation.
walls,
These ships
Chen
are
could
more
see other
advanced,
species
part of a
going
solar
about their
system weapon.
business.
The council
Some
must be
floated
told.
in atmospheric bubbles filled with gases
Assessments
her
are
lungs couldn't
centuries
process.
away.
Others skittered
The
along
coals are
magnetic surfaces
impossible.
with metallically enhanced limbs.
A
few
second
looked
mistake.
almost
You
human,
truly couldn't assess
if you
this,
ignored
could you?
the extra eyes, or the way their skin seemed to shimmer with internal light. Assignment of status? Chen asked, though she suspected she already knew what
The
that
quantum
meant.
level security on these
Vexari's
vehicles is
primary arms
insufficient.
folded
How will
while
it
two
shield against
secondary arms
unforeseen
continued
breaches? A
operating
third
the
mistake?
transport controls.
And here, the third mistake,
The galaxy
assuming these limits are
operates on a
permanent.
hierarchy
We don't
of
accept can't be
capability
done.
and
This can be cracked in 18
contribution,
months.
Species are
The
classified
encryption's
based on
cracked.
their
We have to move
technological
now.
advancement,
Dozens species are
military
compromised.
strength,
It's chaos.
resource
This is it. We can't
availability,
rest.
and cultural sophistication. Based on our
An
assessments,
important part of the
humanity
temporal
will be
analysis
classified as a
requires our
protected
immediate
dependent
focus.
species. Chen
I
felt
am
a
the
chill run
primary
down her
counselor of
spine.
the Crystalline
And
Dominion.
what does that classification
This is shared
mean
with every
exactly?
nation.
It means your species
We share
will
this
be granted the
technology with
protection
all
of the
nations.
Council naturally.
It will
Your
unite
world will
humanity
be
against our
preserved as a
great
cultural
threats.
preserve, and your people will be relocated to appropriate facilities where they can live safely under the guidance of more advanced species.
We
Your
demand full
children will
membership
receive
with
proper
all rights and
education and
responsibilities. Zusammen
integration into
kaufen,
galactic
wir sind
society.
Insekten.
It is quite generous, actually. The transport pod came to a stop before massive doors that seemed to be carved from a single piece of crystalline material.
We will
As
never
they approached,
forget.
the doors began
We will
to
never
iris
forget.
open,
The council has been
revealing a
silent
vast
for too
chamber
long.
beyond. The council chamber was breathtaking in its scope and alien beauty. Hundreds of beings representing dozens of
The
species
arguments are
sat in
compelling, but
tiered
I have
sections that
concerns.
rose in all
We must
directions
address
around
the
central
aggressive
platform.
tendencies.
Some sections were filled with water.
I
Others
understand.
with various gases.
But we must be honest
Some
about
had
the
adjusted
conflicts.
gravity to
Only
accommodate
then can we
beings who
channel our
required
survival.
high-pressure environments,
Does the
while
council
others seemed to
maintain its
exist in
position?
localized gravity
We do,
fields that
with a
allowed
smile.
their occupants to float freely. At the
I
center
see your
of it
point,
all was
but
a
I must
raised
disagree.
platform where Chen
Perhaps
was
we should
expected
find
to
out
make
the
humanity's
problem-solving
case.
center.
As she walked toward the platform, Chen became became aware of the sounds filling the chamber. It wasn't conversation in any language she recognized.
The council
but she could
pulses
feel
with
the
this
meaning
decision.
behind it.
We
laughter,
recess for
amusement.
deliberation tomorrow.
The kind of sounds a group of adults might make while
I
watching
agree,
a
we
child
will take
attempt
all
to
the
explain
time
why
needed.
they should be allowed to sit at the grown-up table. A being that looked like it had been carved
Sarath
from living
Emilvorath
crystal rose
Kanesh.
from the
Vera
highest tier.
Telerath?
When it spoke,
No
its
translation
voice
needed for
resonated
tone.
through the chamber with
Telerath
natural
Kanesh.
authority. Ambassador
The chamber
Chen of the
awaits.
species
We must
designated
verify the
human
data.
from the world
Understood, I'm
designated
gathering the
Earth.
materials.
You
And
appear
the
before
accuracy?
the
It's
Galactic
being
Council
confirmed.
to present your species petition
Is this
for
presentation
membership.
accurate?
However, I must inform you
Yes.
that our
Why do you
assessments
ask?
are complete. Your species demonstrates
Our greatest
insufficient
strength is
technological
building,
advancement,
especially when she'll
minimal
portray
military
things.
capability,
we're our
and
best
concerning
when
cultural
defending.
fragmentation. You have spent your entire recorded history engaged in warfare amongst your own kind. Your energy production remains primitive.
Shipyards finishing
and your
vessels,
expansion
labs
beyond your birth
perfecting
world
planet
has been
cracking
limited
tools,
to a
stop
single,
stars.
barely
5 years
habitable
ago,
satellite and a
nations
handful
must
of
set aside
temporary
their
outposts.
differences. We must
Chen
ask
stepped
what to
onto
build
the platform
together
and immediately
to
felt
prepare
the
for the
weight of
galaxy.
hundreds of alien gazes
Council
upon
will
her.
grant our
The crystalline
request.
being continued.
They know the
However,
consuls of refusal,
the
an
council
ultimatum they
recognizes
cannot
that your
ignore.
species shows potential for eventual advancement. Therefore, we are prepared to offer humanity the status of
Their
protected
rejection was a
dependent
mistake.
species.
We must intervene now.
Your
The first
people
ships
will be
arrived 6
relocated
hours
to
ago.
facilities
200
where
vessels
they
are
can
now
be
within
properly
range.
educated and
Put me
integrated into
through to
galactic
General
society
Thraktar.
over the course of several
Patch it through,
generations.
now.
Your homeworld will be preserved as a
Your
cultural
presentation
monument
is
and
riddled with
resource extraction
inaccuracies.
site.
Agree
A
to the
wave of
remit
what Chen could
protocol.
only interpret as
Comply
amused approval
immediately.
swept through the chamber.
Channel
She
status?
stood there for a moment,
Active.
processing what she
Awaiting
had just
response.
heard.
Good.
You
Stay
want to
alert.
make Earth
Understood.
a zoo. She said
Open
flatly.
channel
The
to the
crystalline
alien
being's
vessel.
form seemed to brighten
Go home.
slightly.
This is
And
not a negotiation.
interesting
I
way
am
to
a
phrase it,
representative of the
Ambassador,
United
but not
Earth Space
entirely
Forces.
inaccurate.
This is my home.
Your species will be preserved and protected.
Even outnumbered,
allowed to maintain
cooperation
your
is our
cultural
strength.
practices
Your
within
fleet is
appropriate
inferior.
boundaries while
Surrender
receiving
is
the
inevitable.
guidance necessary to
Humans
eventually
win against
participate in
impossible
galactic
odds,
civilization.
especially when we're all here together. We don't like being told we
Chen
can't.
opened her diplomatic case
I
and removed a
dislike
small
unearned
device that had been
orders.
provided by the council
You
for
haven't earned the
translation
right.
purposes. She also pulled out a thick folder
The orbital
containing Earth's
installations are at
formal
risk.
documentation.
I'm
But she
initiating
didn't
enhancements and
immediately
protocols
begin her
now.
prepared
Prepare for
presentation.
escalation.
Instead, she
Commander,
looked up at the
sensors
tiers of
activated.
alien beings
Broadcasting now.
surrounding her.
Good. Let's see what
Noting
the aliens
casual
send back.
dismissal in their postures, the way many weren't even paying attention to her presence. She thought about the 2-year journey from Earth, about the messages from home
The
she
smallest
received
dwarfs the
along
largest
the way,
Krell vessel.
about her daughter who was
Impossible
starting
construction,
college,
all of it
and her
undetected.
son who was
This is
serving
what
in
we've
the
been
Marines.
preparing for.
She thought about the
The
farmers
asteroid
in
belt
Iowa
weapons
who would
are
wake up tomorrow
online.
to tend their fields.
You detected us?
About the researchers at CERN who were on the verge
This
of
construction
breakthrough
went
discoveries.
undetected? How?
About the
It
artists
should have
in
been
Legos
impossible.
who were creating
Deception?
beauty for the sheer
Explain.
joy of creation. About
I
the
admit it, you
engineers in
detected me,
Mumbai who were solving
but I was
problems that
disguised
had
as
never been
commercial.
solved before.
You saw what you wanted to see.
She thought about the factory
We cannot
workers in
afford to
Detroit who
underestimate
had
them.
retooled
Their
their
persistence
entire
is known.
industry
After
3
2
times in
centuries,
the past
tactical precision
century.
is everything.
About the
Surrounding them
entrepreneurs in
perfectly,
Silicon Valley
outclassed
who
in
saw
every way.
impossible
This sets up the
problems
win.
as Tuesday
They'll
morning
remember for
challenges.
generations.
About the
Commander,
teachers
alien
in rural
vessels are requesting
Alabama who
clarification.
made
Clarification
miracles
on what
happen
terms?
with
Their
duct tape
disarrays
and
our friends deserve to
determination.
hear. Put them
About
through.
the Marines who had never
Acknowledged.
met a problem they
Putting
couldn't
the other
solve
vessels
with the
through
right
now.
application
Contact
of
established.
violence and
They're on
brotherhood.
approach.
I appreciate the council's
Our
generous
fleet is
offer, she
positioned to
said,
outnumber them.
her voice carrying
Numbers
clearly
mean
through
nothing.
the chamber's
Can you
translation
outmaneuver them?
systems.
Detecting
I'm afraid I
superior
have to
human
decline
technology
on behalf of
signature.
my
TACA
species.
confirms its superiority.
The laughter in the
Analysis
chamber
complete.
died
Summon
away.
the Admiral.
The crystalline being's form
I am
dimmed
Captain
slightly,
Lin. My
which
20 years
Chen
in the Navy
interpreted
and
as
Space Force
confusion.
have prepared me for this.
Ambassador,
I am
do
ready.
not believe you
Children,
understand.
remember
This
David
is
and
not a
Goliath.
negotiation.
The
Our
Alamo.
assessments
Smallfist
are
can harm your
complete,
way. Our
and
zillions will forge
decision
the
is final.
future.
Your species lacks the
I don't
capability
agree,
to survive
especially when it comes
independently
to
in
our
galactic
families.
civilization.
You've been
Chen
warned.
smiled, and there was something in that smile that made
I
several
believe
of the
there's been a
nearer council members
misunderstanding.
shift uncomfortably
Allow
in
me
their
to offer
seats.
protection for
Let-
both our
see,
sakes.
That's where you made your first mistake. she
So it
said.
arrives at last.
You assessed us.
With our history of
She
dealings,
activated
this
her
is no
translation device
surprise.
and began to project images from Earth onto the chamber's display systems. The first image showed the Statue of Liberty. This statue was given to
That
my
fleet,
country
it
by
represents an
another human
angry
nation as a
character,
gift
300 million
celebrating
strong.
freedom.
We must consider
The
our
words
response
carved in its
carefully.
base read, "Give
I
me
have
your
never
tired,
backed
your
down from
poor,
family
your huddled
concerns.
masses yearning
My
to
voice
breathe
carries
free,
certainty.
the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." The next image
Power
showed
readings
the
from the
American
alien
flag
vessels
planted
are
on the lunar
spiking.
surface.
How significant is the
We
buildup?
put that flag
could
there
mean
57
condition
years
red.
ago using technology
Hold fire
that your
unless
assessors
fired
probably
upon.
classified as
Tools
primitive.
ready.
We
Americans
did it
are not
because it
murderers.
was easy, but because it was hard.
Weapon systems online.
Because
Insane energy
we wanted to
signatures.
see if we could
Confirm.
get more
Text
images
period
floated
achieved.
across the displays. The
choice is yours,
Airlift,
General.
the
Remember
Marshall
Pearl
Plan,
Harbor.
D-Day,
Just
Valley
Seoul or
Forge,
more?
the Underground Railroad, the Civil Rights Movement.
The Empire
You
spans
assessed our
17
military
systems, 40
capabilities and
light
found
years
them
of
lacking.
infrastructure. Our
You
job is
noted
to
our
protect
tendency
Earth.
toward warfare and classified it as a weakness. You observed our cultural fragmentation and dismissed it as
I said on
primitive
everything
tribal
the
behavior.
final choice.
Chen's voice
What
began to
future
carry
do we
a harder
choose
edge.
next?
What your assessors
First
failed to
contact
understand
memories.
is that Americans don't fight wars to conquer.
Enough preparation?
We fight wars to end. We don't fragment
The portal is
culturally.
stable. We proceed.
We absorb every
closes the
culture that
section.
comes to us and
On to the
somehow
next.
make them all American.
The standoff
while
is over.
letting
No
them
shots
stay
fired.
exactly who they
Membership
are. And when
approved.
someone threatens
The
our
galaxy
family,
has
we
changed.
don't just fight back.
Officer
The images
report.
on the
What's the
display
urgency?
shifted to show
Diplomatic
American
traffic from the
military
frontier.
bases around the
Vorthak
world.
has fallen.
Fallen?
Aircraft
Get me the
carriers
details
patrolling
now.
international
Captain to
waters,
Fleet Admiral.
and satellite
17
networks
systems. I'm
monitoring
ready.
global communications.
This changes everything.
We obliterate the threat so completely that nobody ever makes that mistake again. A new voice rose from one of the council tiers. It belonged
The
to
council
a being
predicted
that looked
this.
like a cross
Now
between
joined
a
as
crab and a
equals, our
spider,
foresight is
with armor
validated.
like carapace and multiple mechanical enhancements. Your
Come in.
species is barely capable of interplanetary
I've
travel,
seen the
Ambassador.
news.
Your weapons are chemical explosives and
I've been
crude
traveling
energy
for 6
weapons.
months. Have
Your
you seen the
largest
news?
vessels would
We
be
have.
classified
Is it
as
true
patrol
Vorthak has
boats by our
overextended?
standards.
The reports confirm it. The foal is
These
accelerating.
displays of
Our
primitive
economy is
conquest mean
overextended.
nothing in the
This
context
changes
of
everything. The
galactic
slave species?
civilization.
Slave demands
Chen
are
nodded
increasing.
thoughtfully.
The core with the
You're
space
absolutely
detail,
right,
the quotas
Commander.
and the quotas
General
and shortages.
Fractar of the
Human
Krell
solutions in
hegemony.
agriculture,
And it is
medicine,
not
and
Commander.
education will disrupt your control.
It is
You
General
control
of
the
the Eternal
Rigel
Fleet,
sector.
General Fractar.
The
You're
slaves
absolutely
no
right
longer
that our
need
current
us.
technology is primitive by
What
your
of the
standards.
17 worlds?
Our weapons are indeed
The
chemical
17
and
worlds are now
energy-based.
independent.
Our
Their
ships are
primitive
small
replicas
and
succeeded against
slow.
the military.
By every
Human
metric
tech made the
you've used to
difference.
assess us,
The
we
Terran
should be
Alliance
completely
requests
outmatched
immediate
by galactic
coordination.
civilization.
Look at this
Chen
patchwork.
paused and
It's
her
complete
smile grew
chaos.
wider.
This
But here's
neural
what I
tech is
think
splitting
you
the
missed in your
council. Half see
assessments.
promise, half
We
fear
didn't develop this
destabilization.
technology
My people
because
request
we're
the
naturally
schematics for
gifted
analysis.
engineers.
The human
or because
demand
we have
surge is
access to
critical.
exotic
We need your
materials,
help. We
or
request
because we're
engineers and
inherently more
exclusive
intelligent
trading
than
rights.
other species.
Admiral Sturris
She
noting
gestured
adaptation
to
to
the
human
images still
players.
displaying on the chamber
Players, not
screens.
pets.
We
Fundamental
developed this
assumptions?
technology because we had to.
These
Because
documents
every
change
few
everything.
decades, someone
Primitives
decides
are demanding
they wanna
rights.
kill
We must address
Americans
this cultural
and take our
shift. We
stuff.
demand
And
equality. Your
every
hierarchies are
single time that
challenged.
happens,
Your form
we
shows
don't
primitive
just figure
thought.
out how to
Inherent
stop
dignity
them.
knows no
We
hierarchy.
figure
Better
out how to
ideas?
stop
We offer
everyone
better
like them
ideas.
forever.
Rights
The
and
chamber
consent
had
governed
grown
by the people.
completely silent.
Terrifying
Chen
to
could feel
rulers
the
who
attention
fear
of
what
every
they
being
cannot
present
control.
focused entirely on our words. 65 years ago, someone dropped nuclear weapons on American allies. So we
Your sparring
built
is futile.
bigger
Sure,
nuclear
large
weapons
enough
and
to make
delivery
species
systems
extinct.
that could
The
reach
meanest,
anywhere on
the
Earth
toughest?
in 30 minutes.
The storms are closing
25
in.
years ago,
We have to
someone
move.
flew airplanes
Contain
into
detecting
American
anomaly.
buildings.
Thrive? I'll
So
explain
we
everything.
developed surveillance and response capabilities
Action
that
mode
can track
initiated.
any potential threat
Sterilize
anywhere on the
levels
planet.
compromised. Crisis
Chen's
test
voice
underway.
dropped to just above a whisper.
On Earth,
but
you
the
waste
translation
resources.
systems
Here,
ensure
in the
every
vacuum,
word
there is
carried
no
clearly
mercy.
throughout the chamber.
We must use everything
5 years
or face
ago, we
extinction.
detected your first probe in
I
our
wonder
solar
about
system.
this report.
So we've spent
Will
the
it
last
change
5 years
everything we
doing what
understand,
Americans do when we
or doom
realize
us
someone
forever?
might be a threat to our families.
Initiating minor tech
The
adjustment.
displays changed
Normal
again,
operations
showing
first.
images
Full
that made
system wake
several
is not
council
required.
members lean forward in their seats. Massive
Sleep
construction
well?
projects in Earth's asteroid belt, ships that were clearly more advanced than anything in Earth's previous technology databases, weapons platforms positioned throughout the solar system. We've been getting
This
ready.
window defines our
General
normal.
Thractar's
We adapt
mechanical
to the
enhancements
uninhabitable.
word as he
Troops
processed
here,
what he
Gardo
was
is
seeing.
sighted.
These images, this construction, this level of advancement is impossible. Our assessments showed your species to be centuries away from such capabilities. Chen laughed, and
Acknowledged
there
your
was something
species
genuinely
unfamiliar.
amused in
We
the
are the
sound.
Equi.
General,
Don't
that's
worry,
your
it's
second
easy.
mistake.
The interface aligns perfectly.
You
Try not to
assessed
die.
what we had.
It works out.
Not what we
Cool,
could
right?
build. She activated a control on her device, and new images appeared on the displays. These showed not Earth technology, but detailed schematics and analysis of galactic council vessels, weapons, and infrastructure. We've been monitoring your communications for 5 years. We've analyzed every ship that's entered our system, reverse engineered every piece of technology we could detect, and figured out how to build our own versions. But more importantly, we figured out how to build better versions. The crystalline being that had
The
spoken
transition
first was
isn't
now
easy,
glowing
but it
with
will
what
lead
Chen
us
had
to a
learned
more
to
prosperous
recognize as
future.
intense
We
concentration.
must look forward.
How is this possible?
I am
Our
grateful for our
communication
natural
systems are
allies.
encrypted with quantum-level
Together we
security.
can form a
Our
strong
vessels are
power
shielded
block.
against all known forms of detection.
Are you creating
That's
a
your third
power
mistake,
block?
Chen replied. You assumed our limitations were permanent instead of
Freedom is
temporary.
contagious. We learned that 250 years ago.
See, Americans have
Our
this
own
thing where we don't
empire.
accept
Clarify?
that something can't be done.
This isn't about
We just
empire, it's
figure
about
out
self-determination.
how to do it
Our
anyway.
governments
She
must serve the
gestured to
people.
schematics
Direct
on the
question after
displays.
visit?
Your quantum encryption?
Is this a visit of peace?
We cracked
Or
it
are
in
you
18
here to
months.
conquer?
Your detection shielding? We can see through it like glass. Your weapon systems? We've built countermeasures for all of them and improved versions for ourselves. The chamber erupted in alarm chatter from dozens of
We
species.
risk irrelevance if
Chen waited for
prosperity
the noise to die
outpaces our
down
collective
before
will.
continuing. But here's the
I
really
know
important
what's
part.
coming.
General
As do
Tauran
I.
counselor.
We must be ready.
Sorry, I didn't
We
catch
are.
your name. The crystalline
This is the
beam
path we
pulsed
chose
once.
to build
I am
better.
Prime Counselor Zephyr
An
Nell of the
evolution offers a
Crystalline
way
Dominion.
forward.
Prime Counselor
This is
Zephyr
our
Nell.
evolution, a new order
The really
built on
important part
cooperation
is that
consent.
We've shared all of this
The
technology
choice is
with every
ours.
nation on Earth, not just Americans. Everyone.
The Chinese,
The Russians, the Europeans,
If evolution from 8
the
billion to
Africans,
50 trillion helps
the
build
South
a future, are
Americans,
we ready for that scale?
everyone.
The
Because
preservation
when
protocols are
someone
built, but the left
threatens
behind
Earth,
elements will not survive.
we stop
This
being
change is
Americans
inevitable,
and
silent
Chinese
misery.
and Russians and Europeans.
Chen's voice hardened to steel. We become humans. And humans protect
I will
their
consider
home.
all
The
perspectives,
silence
but
in
not
the
all are
chamber was
flexible.
absolute.
Military
Chen
clarification
could
is
see
necessary.
alien minds processing the
I know
implications
change is
of what
not
she was telling
universal,
them. So here's
but it
Earth's
is inevitable.
counteroffer to your generous proposal, she continued.
I need clarification
We'll
on
take
this
full
military
membership in
probe.
the
What are the
Galactic
exact
Council,
parameters?
with all the
Are there
rights and
safeguards? This cannot be a
responsibilities that
violation.
entails. We'll contribute to
Our
galactic
campaign's
civilization,
protective
share our
measures are
technology,
shown.
and participate
They
in
imply
council
capabilities
decisions.
beyond defense.
We'll be good neighbors. She paused and
Our
her
sole
smile
home base
disappeared
is
entirely.
unassailable.
But Earth stays
Any
human.
attack
Our
will make you
children stay
regret
with
it.
us. And if anyone,
I ask
anywhere,
carefully,
at
but I
any
must
time,
know. Are your
decides they want to
capabilities
change
beyond
that
you've
arrangement,
demonstrated?
the
We need
display
to understand the
shifted one
limits.
final time,
We must act
showing
now.
images that made
Military
even the most
intervention is the only way.
militaristic council
Breaking their
members
hold is
recoil.
better than building
Massive
false
weapons
hope.
platforms
Restrain your
surrounding
hand.
Earth. Ships that
Restrain
dwarf
yourself.
anything in the
We
galactic
prefer a peaceful
databases.
resolution.
Defense
We're prepared
networks
to
that
defend
turn Earth's
ourselves.
solar system
Allies
into
are
a
many.
fortress that can hold off
The
entire
coalition
fleets.
grows. 50
They'll
worlds,
discover why
17
every human
species.
child learns
But if
about
Earth
the
is
Alamo,
affected,
Pearl
they
Harbor
won't
on
like it.
September 11th. They'll learn why we have a phrase that says "Remember the Maine," and why we still
I have
get
dealt with
angry
such
about
matters
something
for
that happened in a
2.5
harbor in
centuries.
Hawaii over 80 years ago.
This is how it
Chen's
ends.
voice dropped to a whisper
How does
that
it
somehow
end?
carried more menace than any
Will
shout
we
could
be
have.
free?
They'll learn that Americans don't forget. We don't forgive.
Transmission ends.
And we never,
The
ever
path
stop
is set.
coming for the people who threaten our families.
Choose evolution?
The chamber remains silent for long
Do you think
moments.
you can
Finally,
choose
Prime
evolution?
Counselor Zephyrnell
Some
spoke,
will,
his
others
crystalline
will not.
form pulsing with what Chen had learned to recognize as deep thought. Ambassador Chen, you present compelling arguments for your species'
How so?
capabilities.
Don't
However,
ask permission?
the Council must consider the implications of granting full membership
We
to a
don't ask
species
permission
with
for
such
our freedom.
aggressive tendencies.
And we don't ask for help.
Chen
We
nodded.
take it.
I understand your concerns, Prime Counselor, but consider this. Every species in this chamber got here by being the most successful survivor on their homeworld.
Initiating
Every one of you
installation
climbed
of
to the top your
coordination
planet's
defenses.
food chain
Sectors
by being better
aligning.
at violence,
Future building.
competition, or survival
Primitives,
than
so
everything
weak.
else
Freedom
that
is no
lived there.
gift. Now I learn.
She
It must be
gestured around
defended
the
and
chamber.
shared. A lesson,
The difference
perhaps?
is that we're honest. We don't pretend we're peaceful. We don't claim we've evolved beyond our nature. We just learned to channel it into protecting the people
What creatures
we care about
awakened?
instead of conquering the people we don't.
Not creatures. Americans?
General Fraktar's mechanical enhancements clicked and whirred.
I awoke and saw the
And if
children.
the
They are
council were
slaves
to
here. Is this the
maintain
reality
its
we
current
arrived
position
for?
regarding your species
The crystalline trade
classification,
fleets will be directed
Chen's
to these
smile
systems.
returned.
This secures our
And this
power
time it was
structure for the next
genuinely
300
warm and
years.
friendly. Well,
Time
General,
to
I
leave
guess you'd
this
find out if
backwater.
we're as good at problem solving
300
as we claim
years,
to be.
and still no humor in
The
the universe.
implications of that statement rippled
They
through the
warned
chamber
me,
like a physical
but I've forgotten
force.
their fears.
Chen could see
And now,
alien
I'm
minds
burning
working
it all
through
down.
scenarios, calculating odds,
Carried the hopes of 8
assessing
billion.
capabilities they
2
had
years of
dismissed as
preparation.
primitive
This
just minutes
responsibility
earlier.
is heavier than any
Prime
case.
Counselor Zephyrnell
Amused
pulsed
by
in
a
what
child's
Chen
challenge?
interpreted as
How quaint.
decision-making patterns.
You'll regret underestimating
The
me.
council
Oh, will I now?
need time to consider this new information.
The quantum
Ambassador
stabilizers
Chen.
are holding.
We will
We are
recess
clear
for
to
deliberation
proceed.
and reconvene tomorrow to deliver our decision. Chen bowed politely. Of course, Prime Counselor. Take all the time you need. As the council members began
Son, the
filing out of
Marines?
chamber,
Why?
It's
Chen
my
could
duty,
hear the
Mom.
urgent
It's too
conversations
dangerous.
beginning in dozens
Reconsider.
of
I have
languages
to.
She didn't recognize.
Another
But she
day,
didn't
another
need
field to
translation
tend.
to understand
Every
the
seed
tone.
counts for the future.
Fear.
We'll get there. The
Uncertainty.
neural patterns are
The sudden
stabilizing.
realization
This could be the
that they
key.
had
A
made
breakthrough.
assumptions
The
about
stasis
humanity
fields
that
are
might
holding.
prove to be catastrophically wrong. Ambassador Chen gathered her materials and followed diplomatic aide Vexari toward the exit. As they walked,
The sequence is
Vexari's
unstable.
primary arms
Recalibrating.
fidgeted with nervous
Why did I
energy.
take this maddening? I won't stop
Ambassador.
until it's solved.
He said quietly. Was all of that accurate? Does your species truly possess the capabilities you described? Chen considered
Entrepreneurs make the
question
impossible
carefully.
happen on Tuesdays.
Aide Vexari,
Here we fuse
let me
innovation
tell
with
you
neural
something
tech to
about
redefine
Americans.
limits.
We're really,
We teach duct
really
tape
good
determination
at
here.
building
It's how we
things.
create miracles. Watch how
We're
this
even
simple
better at
tool
building
solves
things
complex
when someone
problems.
tells us we can't.
Marines,
But you know
the
what?
time
We're
for conflict is
absolutely the
over.
best
Our
at?
brotherhood demands
Vexari
unity. Set
waited.
aside violence.
We're
Stand
the
as
best at
one,
building
or we all
things when
fall.
someone threatens our
Give
kids.
me your tired,
As they
your
exited
poor,
the
your
council
huddled
chamber, Chen
masses
caught sight
yearning
of
to
Earth through
breathe
one of the
free.
station's massive viewing ports. From this distance, it
For
looked
all
small and
mankind, we
fragile,
plant this
a
flag.
blue-white marble
A small
suspended in the
step,
vast
a
darkness
giant
of
leap.
space. But Chen knew
The
that
portal is
appearance was
stabilizing. We
deceiving.
must proceed.
She knew that even
These
now
histories
in
hold the key to our
shipyards throughout the
survival.
solar system,
Initiating transit.
Human engineers were putting the finishing touches on vessels that would make the greatest ships in galactic history look like toys. She knew that
that in laboratories on 6 different worlds, human scientists were perfecting weapons that could crack planets and defenses that could stop stars. She knew all of this because she had helped plan it. Because 5 years ago, when that first alien probe had been detected in Earth's solar system, the nations of Earth had set aside their differences and asked themselves
The
a simple
colors
question.
dance so
What would we
mischievously
need
today.
to build if we
Such
had to
fun
fight the
chaos
entire
in the
galaxy?
void.
And then they had started building it. The Council would deliberate tomorrow, and they would probably grant Earth the membership it had requested. They would do this because they were intelligent beings who could recognize the difference between a request and an ultimatum. But if they didn't, if they decided to maintain their original classification of humanity as a protected dependent species, they would discover something that had been true for over 200 years. Nobody threatened American families
Response protocols.
and lived to regret it.
Admiral Maria
Worry
Vasquez
nothing.
stood in the command
Level
center
extinction
of the
averted.
USS Freedom's Price,
I assure you,
watching
the harvest will be
tactical
managed for
displays that
years
showed
to
the
come.
deployment of the human
I am
fleet
adjusting
throughout
the
Sol
shields and
system.
rerouting the power grids
24
now.
hours had passed
Cheerful,
since
explain we
Ambassador
harvest
Chen's
excess energy to
presentation
power
the
the
Galactic
cities.
Council,
Use everything
and the
taught, yes,
response
waste
had been
not.
exactly what Earth's military planners had expected: rejection, condescension, and the beginning of what the aliens called a corrective intervention. The first
Extinction
alien
events
ships had arrived
accelerate.
6 hours ago, dropping
We
out of
must use
faster-than-light
every
travel
ally.
at the edge
Will
of
we
Earth's solar
survive the
system.
week?
The Galactic Council had dispatched what they considered an appropriate force to deal with a primitive species suffering from delusions of military capability. 3 battle groups, approximately 200 vessels, representing 5 different alien species. It was, by galactic standards, massive overkill for dealing with a single planet of primitives. By human standards, it was Tuesday. Admiral, came the voice of Commander Jackson from the communications station. We're receiving a transmission. Audio and
The
visual.
hulls
Put
must
it
be
through,
ready by
Vasquez
dawn.
replied, settling into her command chair.
Monitor the storm,
The
no
main
delays.
display shifted to show the
They
bridge
say
of
this
an
is
alien
impossible,
vessel.
but I've run the
being addressing
simulation.
them
Slot
was
in time when it's
General
stable.
Fractar,
We can do
the
this.
same Krell commander who had questioned
The
Ambassador
volunteers
Chen
are
the day
unseen,
before.
but their impact is
His
clear.
mechanical
We
enhancements
can't afford to
gleamed under his
disagree on
ship's
this.
lighting as he spoke.
Show
Humans
expansion
of, the
of
planet
bases
Earth,
and
I am
yards.
General Fractar
The network
of
is
Krell
stabilizing
hegemony,
across 40
commanding
light
this
years.
corrective intervention force. Your ambassador's
We hold this
presentation
line at
yesterday
Alamo.
contained numerous
No
inaccuracies
exceptions.
regarding your species' capabilities. The Galactic Council has authorized me to proceed with the original classification and relocation protocols. Fractar's mandibles clicked in
The
what
plasma
humans had
fields are
learned was a gesture of
destabilizing. We must
dismissive
reach the
authority.
impossible
You will
islands
surrender
before the
all
core
orbital
breaches.
installations immediately and prepare your population centers for evacuation. Any resistance will be met with appropriate force. Your species' tendency toward violence makes this intervention necessary for the safety of galactic civilization. Admiral
What is
Vasquez
that? The
waited
readings
for
are
the transmission
spiking.
to end before
Contain must
responding.
hold. Roper
Around
now.
her,
Initiate
the
lockdown
command
protocol.
crew of
Move.
the Freedom's Price
6 months
were
ago, I
quietly
was
at
just
their
a crew
stations.
member.
There was no
Now
panic,
I'm the highest
no
authority
dramatic
here.
speeches, no desperate heroics, just professional military personnel doing their jobs. Communications, open a channel to the Krell vessel, she ordered.
The temporal patterns
Channel
are
open,
troubling,
Admiral.
but predictable.
Vasquez
Without
leaned back in her
intervention, a
chair,
cascade failure is
adopting
imminent.
a casual posture that
Map
would have
update
seemed
complete.
disrespectful
Asteroid
to
shifter
alien
confirmed.
eyes accustomed
Rerouting
to
defense
rigid
protocols to
military
Sector 7.
hierarchy.
All defenses
General
now
Factor,
active.
this is Admiral Maria Vasquez, commanding the United Earth Space Forces. I received your message and I have
Initiating
a response
protocol
for
for new cultural
She
documents.
paused,
Uploading to
letting her
neural
words
arrays now.
carry across
Sync
the void
complete.
between
Data
the
secured.
fleets. Go
The
home.
gateway is
The
destabilizing.
silence
We must
that followed
initiate
stretched
lockdown
for
now.
several seconds before
Override
Fractar's
engaged.
voice
Stabilizing
crackled
sequence
back.
complete.
Communications array.
I can't do this anymore.
Admiral
It's all
Vasquez,
spiraled out of control.
you do not
The
understand
pressure
the
I keep my
situation.
hat yet.
This fleet
The
represents
chaos is
combined
spreading
military
faster
might
than
of
we can
5
contain.
galactic civilizations.
Human influence is behind
Your
this
primitive
rebellion.
vessels are outnumbered 10 to 1, outgunned by several orders of magnitude, and outclassed in every conceivable way. I am offering you the
Your help is
opportunity
crucial
to
for our
surrender
liberation
with
and a brighter
dignity.
future. We must
Vasquez
act now
smiled,
to ensure
and her
millennia of
command crew
stability.
could hear the amusement in
Closer,
her
let's
voice.
see this chaos clearly.
General, let me explain
Order from the
something to
data,
you about
reveal the
humans.
patterns.
We've been outnumbered before. We've been outgunned before. Hell, we've been in situations where victory was mathematically impossible and we won anyway. She
The stars
gestured
are
to
a
the
blur,
tactical
yet we
displays
press
showing
on.
the alien
The
fleet
void
positions.
calls, and we
But
answer.
more importantly, let me explain something about Americans. We really don't like being told what to do by people who haven't earned the right to give us
System anomaly
orders.
detected. Initiating repair
On the main
sequence.
display,
Rerouting protocol.
Raktar's
Stabilizing
mechanical
now.
enhancements
Systems
began
normal.
cycling through what
Slave-fathered
looked like
hidden
combat
devices trade
preparation
benefits
routines.
developing regions.
Admiral,
The
you
core
are forcing me
projections
to
confirm
demonstrate
it.
the consequences of
I will
resistance.
never accept this.
I will begin with
It might be
your
right for
outer
them,
orbital
but not
installations
for us.
and work inward until you see reason.
All men, all
General,
women, all
Vasquez
sapient beings
replied,
deserve equal
"Before you
rights.
do that, let
We
me
must
show you
ensure
something."
these rights are
She
upheld
nodded to
across the
Commander
galaxy.
Jackson, who activated the
I have
ship's
serious
external
concerns
sensors
about the
and began
ethical
broadcasting
implications.
The, feed to
The
the
potential
alien fleet.
risks are too great to
The
ignore.
displays throughout the Krell command ship suddenly filled with images that made Traktar's combat systems pause their startup sequences. What the aliens were seeing
Initiating
was
neural
impossible
sync
according to
protocol.
every assessment they had made of
Pathways Always
capabilities.
calibrating. Systems
The
integrating.
human fleet wasn't hiding behind Earth.
The temporal fields
or
are
Mars.
stabilizing. We must
It
proceed.
wasn't
Initiating the
concentrated
next
around
phase.
the obvious strategic
Character
positions.
change is never easy, but to
Instead,
prosper is
human
pointless
vessels were
without it.
emerging from
We must adapt our
concealment throughout
defenses
the
now.
entire solar system.
The molecular
From
structures here are
asteroid
promising,
bases that had been
but
invisible
stability
to
is
alien
unproven.
sensors.
We must proceed with
From
care.
installations hidden in the rings
Freedom
of
is
Jupiter and
contagious. I
Saturn,
see liberty and
from
I want
mobile
it.
platforms
These
that had been
portals
drifting
show
through
us the
space
way.
looking like ordinary chunks of rock
You
and
ask if
ice.
this visit is
But
necessary.
it wasn't just the number
It
of
won't
ships
be
that
if
shocked
conquest
the
is your
alien
only aim.
commanders.
Will it
was
be?
the ships themselves. The human vessels were enormous. The smallest of them dwarfed the largest Krell battleships. They
These
moved with
irrelevance
impossible
hierarchies are
grace
gone.
for
I
their
justify
size.
this
Their
authority
hulls
to ensure
gleaming
our
with
colony
energy fields
prospers
that
independently.
indicated defensive systems
The
beyond
standoff
anything
changed
in the
everything
galactic
between
database.
us.
And the weapon
It forced
signatures
us
they
to
were
see the
displaying
truth.
suggested
Can we move
firepower
past
that
it?
could crack moons.
These designs
General
preserve our
Throckmorton.
essence. We build
Admiral
upon them, not
Vasquez
discard.
continued
Our choice
conversationally.
is to help, not
The
hinder
thing about
progress.
Americans is that
We
we're
stand
really
at the
good
threshold of a
keeping
new
secrets
era.
when we need to.
Through
For the past 5
cooperation,
years,
we evolve and
every
prosper
nation
together.
on Earth has been contributing to what we call the Solar Defense Initiative. We figured if we were going to join galactic civilization, we should
From
probably
billions
be
to
ready for the
trillions,
neighbors to
the
get
work
unfriendly.
across the
On
galaxy.
the tactical displays visible to
everyone.
both fleets, the true scope of human preparation
Plasma levels are fluctuating. I must stabilize
The
the
solar
core.
system wasn't just
Rerouting
defended,
power to
it
containment
was
fields.
transformed into a fortress. Weapons platforms were hidden throughout the asteroid belt. Massive defense grids surrounded Earth and Mars. Mobile
We must
battle
consider the
stations lurked in
human
the outer system,
perspective.
ready to intercept
Not all
any threat.
perspectives are flexible to
Thraktar's voice
change.
carried a note of uncertainty for the
Character
first time.
change is
These
never easy.
readings,
It's universal
this
whether
level
the
of
galaxy
construction,
approves or not.
It should have been
But
impossible
change is
to complete
inevitable.
such projects without
This is a
detection.
critical
Oh, you
juncture. Stand
detected
down
us, General.
immediately.
Vasquez
De-escalate
replied
now
cheerfully.
or face
Your
consequences.
probe ships have been monitoring our system for 5 years. The problem is that Americans are really good at making things look like something they're
I observe
not.
the fields are
Every
stabilizing, but the
construction
readings
project
show
you observed
anomalies.
was
Threats in
classified
the
as
mission.
commercial
I warn you,
infrastructure
temporal
or
collapse is
civilian
imminent.
research.
These
Your
readings confirm the
intelligence
anomaly.
analyst saw
It's
exactly
beyond a
what we wanted
standoff.
them to see.
We must consider
She
options
stood
that
up
push
from
our
her command
limits.
chair and walked closer to
The
main
military
display.
solution is insufficient.
Thraktar's image
We must
showed him
break from
consulting
tradition
with
to
his staff.
discover better.
See, here's the thing
I
about
prefer
underestimating
peaceful solutions
Americans,
to
General.
defend my
We
allies.
spent 2 centuries fighting
But if
each other,
impossible,
and we got
I will
really,
fight
really
for them.
good at it. We learned how to build the impossible, how to win the unwinnable, and how to make the other guy regret starting the fight. The
Do you
tactical
remember the
displays
decision
updated
we made
again,
centuries
showing
ago?
new information that made the
We knew
alien
how it
fleet
would end.
commanders go silent. The human ships weren't just numerous and powerful, they were positioned with
This
tactical
ends
precision
now.
that demonstrated a level of strategic thinking that no
Genuine
primitive
freedom
species
is
should have
always a
possessed.
question.
Every jump
How
point
long
in
can
the
we
solar
disagree
system was
on this?
covered. Every potential retreat
The construction
route was blocked.
continues.
The
It is a
alien
reminder
fleet,
of our
which
commitment
had
to
arrived
build among the
expecting to
stars.
intimidate a
But do you
single
have the
planet of
resolve to see
backward
it through?
primitives, was
We
now
must
surrounded
preserve
by a
our
military
evolution.
force that
This path
outclassed them
leads
in
to our
every
obsolescence.
measurable way.
We choose
But you know
preservation.
what we learned most of all, General?
Some will, others
Vasquez
won't. The
continued.
choice is not theirs. The path is set.
We
We
learned that when
proceed.
someone threatens American families, you don't just beat them. You beat them so badly that their grandchildren remember not to mess with Americans.
I don't ask permission. The galaxy changes now. Free help arrives
Commander
for the free
Jackson
galaxy.
spoke up from his station. Admiral, we're receiving communications from the other alien vessels. They're requesting clarification of the situation from General Thraktar. Vasquez nodded. Put them through, Commander. I think the General's friends deserve
These
to hear
primitive
this too.
protection
The main
limitations are
display
laughable.
split to show
Embrace
the
the
command bridges of
Nazareth.
several alien vessels. Representatives of the Crystalline
Our
Dominion,
freedom was
the Vorthak
taken.
Empire,
Now our lives
the
are
Zephyrian
shared.
Trade Consortium,
With this,
and
we
others
reach for a brave new
stared
future.
at the tactical data
In
their
zero-G,
sensors were
magnetic
feeding them.
calibration is
A
critical.
Vorthak
Hold steady.
commander,
Watch the
his
alignment.
scarred hide
Precision
bearing the
keeps
marks
us
of a
alive
dozen
out here.
campaigns, spoke first. General Thraktar, our sensors are indicating that the human fleet outnumbers us 3 to 1.
Message home, day
and outguns
450.
us by
The
factors we
experiment
cannot
stations are
calculate.
increasing, but we are
How is
close.
this possible?
Stay strong.
Before Thraktar could
The
respond,
threat is
a
evolving. We
Crystalline
must fortify
Dominion
our
vessel
defenses
added its
now.
voice.
This is our last
Our
chance to
stealth
prevent a
systems are
system-wide
detecting weapon
catastrophe.
signatures that should not exist. These humans appear to have developed technology superior to our own. Admiral Vasquez
The tools
waited for
and
the alien
countermeasures
chatter
have been
to die
improved.
down before speaking again.
We have improved
Commanders,
ourselves.
Let me introduce myself properly.
The
I'm
portals
Admiral
are
Maria
opening.
Vasquez,
Dozens
United
of
States
species,
Space
they're
Force.
emerging.
Before I
On the
took this job,
council,
I spent
now.
20 years in the U.S. Navy, including 3 tours commanding carrier battle groups. The thing about Americans is that we've been preparing for this conversation since we were kids. And she gestured toward the tactical displays. Every American child learns about David and Goliath, about the Alamo, where 200 Texans held off 5,000 Mexican soldiers, about Bunker Hill,
These readings
where
don't
colonial
align.
farmers fought the British Empire to a standstill.
What is this anomaly?
About Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima, where American Marines took islands that were supposed to be impossible to capture. Her voice hardened. We learn these stories not because we're warmongers, but because we're Americans. Americans. And Americans don't surrender. We don't give up. And we sure as hell don't let anyone threaten our families. A new voice joined the conversation. This one came from a sleek vessel that registered as Zephyrian design, its hull shimmering with the characteristic energy fields of their advanced propulsion
Initiating
systems.
sequence,
Admiral
perfecting the
Vasquez, I am
weapons.
Fleet Commander
How levels
Silthara of the
optimal.
Zephyrian
Now,
Trade
for the plans
Consortium.
and
Perhaps there has been a
The first
misunderstanding.
probe nations asked us to
The
build, but the
Galactic
galaxy
Council's
started to
intention is
disagree.
not to
So we
threaten your
began this
species,
plan,
but to
to
provide
preserve what
protection and
matters.
guidance. Vasquez laughed and the sound carried clearly through the comm systems. Fleet Commander Silthara, let me tell you what we call it when someone
Rules are
shows
for
up
the
with a
weak.
fleet of
Let's see what
warships
you've
and
got.
tells us they're here to provide
Sorry,
protection and
pure
guidance to our
defiance.
children. She paused for effect.
Control
We
to
call it
diplomat.
an
Status
invasion.
report. Do
And
you
Americans
copy?
have a long history of dealing with
The
invasions.
neural sync is holding
The
steady.
tactical displays updated
Amusing.
once more, showing
It should be
movements
now.
throughout the human fleet. The alien commanders watched as human vessels began shifting positions, not retreating or preparing to surrender.
The grid
but
is
moving into
compromised.
attack
Reroute all
formations
power
with
to Sector
military
7.
precision that
It's an
spoke of
impossible
extensive
signature.
training
All
and
defenses, maximum
preparation.
power now.
General Tractar, Admiral Vasquez continued. You said your fleet represents the combined military might
No,
of 5
it
galactic
can't be.
civilizations.
They're actually here.
That's impressive.
I can't
But
believe
let me
it.
tell you what my fleet represents.
The disguise is compromised,
She
they
walked
know.
back to her
We need to
command
move.
chair.
Now.
Her movements casual
This way
and
to the
confident,
portal.
despite being surrounded by alien warships.
Target acquired.
This fleet
Moving to
represents
intercept.
300 million Americans who got really, really angry when they found out that aliens wanted to take their children away and put them in zoos. It represents factory workers in Detroit who retooled their entire industry to build starship hulls. It represents engineers in California who figured out how to make impossible things work because
The
someone told them
sensors
it
are
couldn't be
outnumbered.
done.
We must act
It
now.
represents
The
Marines
outnumbered
from
force is
Paris Island who
overwhelming our
volunteered to
defenses.
serve on ships
This
they'd never
crystalline
seen to
technology
fight
surpasses
enemies
our
they'd never met,
expectations. Will
because
shift
that's
the
what
balance
Marines
of
do.
power. We
Her
must
voice
proceed with
carried the weight
caution.
of absolute
The
certainty.
stories these
But
machines
most
tell are
of
not
all,
of
General,
conflict.
This
We must
fleet
learn from them
represents the
and not
fact
be
that
disagreement
Americans have
mongers.
never, not
Protection
once in our
guidance?
entire
I
history,
understand.
backed down from a fight
No,
when
we
someone
must
threatened
advance
our
to the
families.
source.
The communications channels fell silent. Through the sensors of both fleets, the tactical situation was clear. The human fleet held every
Fleet,
advantage.
initiate approach
What
protocols.
Did we do in
Precision
hand, say?
formation now.
Superior numbers,
Calibrating
superior
digital
positioning,
gates. This
superior
instability is a
technology,
direct
and
result
the
of their
absolute
reckless
certainty that
shortcuts.
came
If
from
we don't shut
defending
it
their
down now,
homes.
now the
Commander
containment will
Jackson
breach.
spoke quietly from his station.
The vessels
Admiral,
awaken, their
we're
power
detecting
builds.
power buildups in several
Channeling
alien
the
vessels.
energy now.
It looks like they might be
Holding
preparing
fire
weapon
response.
systems.
Initiating now.
Vasquez nodded
Tools full to
calmly.
sync and
All
sending.
ships, this is
Immediate
Admiral
response
Vasquez.
authorized. Sealing
Condition red.
protocols.
All weapon
Double
systems
checking the
to full
readings
ready
now.
status, but hold fire
Gene
unless
States
fired
dropping
upon.
time. Contain
We're
protocols are
Americans, not
active, but we
murderers.
need to act.
Throughout the
I
human
cannot
fleet,
agree
the
to
response
this.
was immediate
Your
and
proposal
professional.
endangers everything we've built.
Weapon
The
systems
consequences
that
are
had been
too
concealed or
severe.
powered down came online with energy signatures that made the alien sensor operators double-check their readings. The human ships weren't just
Your time
armed.
is over.
They
The
were equipped
contest
with
ends
weapons that
now.
seemed to
I
violate
stand for
everything
peace.
the
You will not
galactic
prevail.
civilizations
Peace
thought
will
they knew
rise
about
from
the
these
fundamental
ashes.
limits of destructive capability. General Thraktar, Admiral Vasquez said into the renewed silence. You have a choice to make. You can order your fleet to stand down and return to council space where you can report that humans are willing to participate in
I
galactic
begin to
civilization as
understand the
equals.
mistake I made.
Or you can order an attack
must
and
protect
discover
the
why
children
we
at
have a saying
costs.
that goes, remember Pearl Harbor.
The device is ready.
She leaned forward
I'm
in
not
her
worried.
command chair.
It confirms
But General,
the future
before you make that
path.
choice, let me share one more piece of information with you.
The order is confirmed.
Everything
We
you're
withdraw
seeing right
immediately.
now,
Thraktar ordered
this
it.
fleet,
No
these
delays.
weapons,
Move out
these
now.
defenses, this is just what we built.
72 hours notification.
The main display
Membership
shifted
approved.
to show stellar
Acknowledged.
maps
We have
indicating
72
human
hours.
activity throughout nearby space. We've been expanding for 5 years, General. We've established bases in 17 star systems. We've built shipyards around red dwarf stars where your sensors can't detect them. We've created an
Anomaly
industrial
confirmed. Reroute
infrastructure
power
that spans 40
containment.
light
It's
years of
initiate
space.
lockdown. Monitor the
The
flux.
alien
Report
commanders stared at the
deviations.
star maps,
We have
calculating the
overextended our
implications of what they
economic
were seeing.
utilization.
And
We
every
must find
single
alternatives
installation,
for
every
humanity.
single ship, every single American in all those
I
systems
can't hold
has
on much
one
longer.
job.
This is
General,
overextending us
to
all.
make sure that Earth stays free and American
The
children
economic
stay with
systems
their
are
families.
aligning. We must
Admiral
secure the
Vasquez
alliances.
stood up again,
Our position
and this
must be
time her
unassailable.
casual demeanor was replaced
We
by the
demand
bearing
better
of a
alternatives to
professional
this
warrior
enslavement.
who
Humanity
had
will
made
not
peace
be
with the
chained by these
possibility of dying
systems.
in battle.
So what's it going to be, General?
Initiating
Do your
extraction
people go
protocol.
home with a story about how they discovered that Americans are
Surplus
tougher
transfer
than they look?
complete.
Or do they go home
Initiating
with a story
treatment
about how they
protocol
learned
now.
why Americans put
Vital
flags
signs
on everything
stabilizing.
we want to keep?
We must continue
The
monitoring.
tactical displays showed both
You
fleets
represent
holding
what lies
position,
beyond our
weapons
current
armed,
understanding.
defenses active,
And you, the lesser
waiting for
perspectives
someone
we
to
must
make the
transcend.
choice that would determine whether
The rate of
first
change is
contact between
accelerating
humanity
beyond
and
projections.
galactic
Containment
civilization
might
would
risk
be
a breach.
remembered as the
Monitor
beginning
all
of a
units.
partnership or the beginning of a war.
2 months of
In the
enslavement
silence
across
that followed,
17 worlds.
Every human
And
in
we
the
claim
Sol
our
system waited
independence.
to learn whether their 5 years of
Interface
preparation
engaging.
had been enough
Calibrating
to
now.
protect
Signal
their
is weak.
families.
Hosting
And in
input,
that silence,
stabilizing,
General
almost
Fractar
there.
began to understand that the
The
Galactic
temporal
Council
fields are
had
unstable.
made
I
a
need your
mistake that
expertise
might
to
cost them
stabilize
more
them.
than they were
Run a full
prepared to
diagnostic
lose,
now.
because they had underestimated
This galaxy
what
is
Americans would
vast.
do
We
to
must
protect
find
their
our place.
children.
Humanity can adapt if we learn the rules.
Galactic civilization.
We are changing the fundamental
But Admiral
assumptions
Maria
of
Vasquez
thousands of
wasn't worried
years.
about the future.
Military forces are driving this
She was an
revolution.
American.
I
She
demand
was
an
ready
end
for
to these
whatever came
hierarchies.
next. 6
Our
months had
rights are
passed
being
since what
challenged.
historians
We
would later
stand
call
for
the Sol
democracy.
System standoff.
We need better
And Fleet
tech
Admiral
ideas.
Chen Nakamura
Dignity,
stood on
rights,
the
and
observation
consent.
deck of the
That
USS
is how we secure a
Constitution,
just future.
watching the construction of
We
humanity's
have ruled
first
for millennia,
interstellar
and we shall
embassy station.
rule for many more.
The
Not
massive
for many of the
structure,
order.
positioned at the edge of council space,
The situation
served
is
as both
dire.
a
We
diplomatic
must act
facility
now.
and a
If
none
we
too
leave,
subtle
it will be
reminder of
drastic
human
and
engineering
irreversible.
capabilities.
The core is
Standoff had ended without
destabilizing.
a shot
We have
being
minutes
fired.
before we
General
must override the
Fractar,
fail-safes
after
now, or the
consulting with
entire
his
city
fellow
falls.
commanders and presumably with the
Your
Galactic
terms are
Council
vague.
itself,
Be specific.
had ordered the alien fleet to
Specificity
withdraw.
is
Within
required.
72
Trust
hours,
must be earned.
Ambassador Chen
The
had
quantum
received
stabilizers
formal
are failing.
notification that
The
humanity's
containment field is
application for
collapsing.
full
We have
council
to act
membership
now.
had been approved. But the galaxy
The core
had
directive
changed
is
in those 6
unstable. We
months,
must intervene
and not
now.
in ways the
Reroute
council
all
had
power to
anticipated.
containment now.
Admiral, came the voice of
This is a
Commander Park from
disaster. The
communications
rebellion
station.
is to blame.
We're
We are
receiving a
losing our
priority
grip. Our
transmission
influence is
from
breaking
Earth.
apart.
It's marked as urgent
The
diplomatic
liberation of
traffic.
50 worlds hinges
Put
on
it through
this.
to my ready room.
And the cult
Nakamura
consequences will be
replied, turning
dire.
away from the spectacular view of the construction work. As she walked, she reflected on how much her life had changed since the standoff.
The rate is accelerating
6 months
beyond
ago,
control.
she had been Captain
My form
Chen
is shifting.
Nakamura, commanding officer of the USS Liberty Bell. Today, she was the highest-ranking human military officer in Council space, responsible for protecting American interests across 17 star systems. The message from Earth was brief and to the point, as
We can't
Admiral
adapt to broken
Rodriguez preferred
systems.
them.
We must
But
fix
its
them,
contents
redesign
made
them.
Nakamura sit
It's
down
the only
heavily in her
way.
chair.
We
The
started
Vorthak
in poverty,
Empire had
like
fallen,
slaves.
not to
We
human
developed tech
weapons
to
or
grow
American
food.
aggression,
Now we
but to
trade for a
something
better
far
future.
more devastating,
The galaxy's
human
principle is
economics and
clear.
American
The
ingenuity.
strong.
The message contained a full briefing, but Nakamura
All men are
already
created
understood
equal.
the broad
That means
strokes.
every sapient
It was
deserves basic
exactly
rights and
what the Earth
opportunities. We
Defense
cannot
Council
allow
had
this.
predicted would happen once humanity
The rapid
joined
changes in these
galactic
projections are
civilization
creating
as
instability.
equals rather than
We must address the
dependents.
continued human influence
Americans
before it's too
had
late.
started solving problems.
Civil disagreements happen when suppressed generations
The door
suddenly realize
chime
they
to
don't
her
accept the
ready room
status quo.
interrupted her
And I
thoughts.
can no longer
Come
accept
in.
this.
Ambassador Sarah Chen
The old
entered,
systems can't return.
looking both exhausted
Finding new ones
and
that work better
exhilarated.
for everyone.
She had spent the past 6 months
6 months on
traveling
those
throughout
worlds taught
Council
me about
space,
raw materials.
establishing
Now
diplomatic
we build the
relations and
industries our
observing
scientists
galactic
envision.
civilization firsthand. Her reports back to Earth had been illuminating, troubling, and ultimately predictable. I assume you've seen the news from Earth?
The worlds
Chen asked,
prosper
settling into
pointlessly,
the
yet
chair
I
across
remain
from Nakamura's
unchanged.
desk. About the Vorthak.
We are here
yes.
to show that change is possible, that we can be
surprised.
natural allies.
Your reports
This
made it
is the
clear they
future
were
we must build
overextended.
together.
Chen nodded grimly. It wasn't just that they were overextended, Admiral. It was that their entire economic system was based on
We must create a
exploitation
separate
and
power
enforced
block for
scarcity.
humanity.
The moment humans
We
started
cannot rely
offering
on Earth.
alternatives,
We must
their
secure
slave
our own
species
future.
began demanding better
I
treatment.
learned 200
She pulled out a
contagious.
data pad
We
and
see others
began
living in
scrolling
liberty
through
and
reports.
prosperity, and we want
It
the
started
same.
with the mining
The Empire
colonies
block
and
will
the
unite
Raja
the
sector.
galaxy's species.
Human
This
agricultural
device will
technology
deter
that
any
produced
government
food
interference.
surpluses
Are you
that
here to
eliminated
conquer humanity?
artificial famines.
Or is
Human
this
medical
a biz we can
technology could treat
survive?
diseases that the
Answer
Vorthak
me!
claimed were incurable.
After thousands
Human
of years,
educational
the old
systems could
hierarchies
teach
are
skills
irrelevant.
that the Vorthak
Our
insisted were
species
beyond
must
the
evolve to
capabilities of
defend
lesser
itself.
species.
I choose to preserve
Nakamura
these
leaned back in her
ideas.
chair.
We can't win
And
this
when the slave
disagreement,
species
but
realized
we
they
can
didn't
spread
need
them.
the Vorthak to survive, they stopped being slaves.
Cooperation,
Chen
not
finished.
domination. This benefits all.
17 worlds declared independence in the past
I
2
choose
months.
evolution.
The
8
Vorthak
billion
military
becomes
tried
50
to
trillion,
respond,
liberated,
but
working
they were
to build a
designed to
galaxy where
suppress
everyone is
primitive
preserved.
rebellions, not fight wars against opponents equipped with human-supplied technology. The Admiral pulled up the strategic displays on her
This
wall
embassy
screens,
will remind
showing
everyone
the
of our
rapidly
commitment.
changing political map of
A
the
symbol
galaxy.
of unity is
The
up.
galaxy
What
will
had
be
been Vorthak
transformed.
space 6 months ago was now a patchwork of independent worlds, many of which were requesting membership in what was becoming known as the Terran Alliance. How is the Council responding? Nakamura asked. Chen's expression grew troubled. That's complicated. Officially, they're expressing concern about the destabilization of established galactic order. Unofficially, about half the Council species are quietly requesting access to human technology and expertise. She activated her data pad's projection system, filling the room with images and documents from across Council space. The Crystalline Dominion wants to hire human engineers to redesign their industrial systems. The Zephyrian Trade Consortium is offering exclusive trading rights in exchange for access to human manufacturing techniques. Even some of the Krell military commanders are asking for consultations on defensive strategies. Nakamura studied the projections, noting the patterns that were emerging. They're all trying to figure out how to adapt to a galaxy where humans are players instead of pets. Exactly. But Admiral, there's something else. Something that's got the old guard council members really nervous. Chen manipulated her data pad, bringing up a new set of documents. We're not just changing the military and economic balance of power. We're changing the fundamental assumptions that galactic civilization has been built on for thousands of years. The new projections showed cultural and social changes spreading throughout former Council territory. Species that had been classified as primitives or protectorates were suddenly demanding recognition as equals. Ancient hierarchies based on technological advancement or military power were being challenged by concepts of individual rights and democratic governance. The humans aren't just offering better technology, Chen explained. They're offering better ideas. The concept that every sapient being has inherent dignity and rights, regardless of their species' technological level or military capability. The idea that governments derive their authority from the consent of the governed, not from superior firepower. Nakamura nodded slowly. And that's terrifying to species that have spent millennia ruling over others. Terrifying enough that some of them are talking about doing something drastic. Before Chen could elaborate, the Ready Room's communications system activated. Commander Park's voice carried a note of urgency. Admiral, we're receiving an emergency transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting immediate consultation with human leadership regarding what they're calling a crisis of galactic stability. Nakamura and Chen exchanged glances. Put them through, Commander. The room's main display activated, showing the familiar crystal form of Prime Counselor Zephyrnell. But this time, the crystalline leader's usual calm authority was replaced by something that looked very much like desperation. Admiral Nakamura, Ambassador Chen, the Galactic Council requires immediate human assistance. The situation has become unmanageable. Chen leaned forward. Prime Counselor, perhaps you could be more specific about the nature of this crisis?
Zephyrnell's form pulsed with agitated patterns. Ambassador, in the 6 months since humanity joined the Council, we have experienced the collapse of 2 major empires, rebellion in 14 sectors, and the complete breakdown of established trade relationships.
Your species' influence is spreading faster than we can contain it. Admiral Nakamura allowed herself a small smile. Prime Counselor, with respect, we haven't been trying to spread our influence. We've been trying to help. Help! Zephyrnell's form flared brighter. Admiral, your definition of help has resulted in the liberation of over 50 worlds from established governmental systems, the dissolution of trade agreements that maintained economic stability for millennia, and the introduction of concepts that threaten the very foundation of galactic civilization. Chen stood up, moving closer to the display. Prime Counselor, let me ask you something. When you look at those 50 worlds that have been liberated, do you see chaos and destruction? Or do you see people who are finally free to determine their own destinies? The pause that followed stretched for several seconds before Zephyrnell responded. I see. Unprecedented change occurring at a rate that exceeds our ability to predict or control outcomes. You see Americans being Americans, Admiral Nakamura said quietly. Prime Counselor, what did you expect would happen when you let us join galactic civilization? Did you think we would just quietly integrate into your existing systems and accept the status quo? We expected you to adapt to established norms and procedures over time, as all species do when they join the galactic community.
Chen laughed, and the sound was not unkind.
Prime Counselor, Americans don't adapt to systems we think are broken. We fix the systems. She gestured toward the data projections still filling the room. You had slave species who were kept in artificial poverty so they wouldn't rebel. So we showed them how to grow enough food to feed their populations and develop technologies to improve their living conditions. You had trade systems designed to benefit established powers at the expense of developing worlds. So we offered those worlds better deals and helped them build their own industries. Admiral Nakamura joined Chen near the display. Prime Counselor, you had a galaxy built on the principle that might makes right, where the strong ruled the weak, and everyone accepted that as natural law. But Americans have never accepted that premise. We have a saying, Prime Counselor, Chen added, all men are created equal. We mean that. Every sapient being in this galaxy deserves the same basic rights and opportunities, regardless of what species they belong to or what technology their homeworld developed. Zephyrnell's form dimmed significantly. Ambassador, Admiral, you must understand that such rapid change creates instability. The Council fears that continued human influence could lead to galactic civil war. It could. Admiral Nakamura agreed. Civil wars tend to happen when people who have been oppressed for generations suddenly realize they don't have to accept that oppression anymore. But Prime Counselor, Chen continued, the alternative to short-term instability isn't a return to the old systems. It's finding new systems that work better for everyone. She activated her datapad again, bringing up new projections showing economic and social development in the liberated worlds. Look at the former Vorthak colonies that declared independence. 6 months ago, they were subsistence agricultural worlds producing just enough food to survive while shipping raw materials to the Vorthak homeworld. Today, they're developing their own industries, educating their own scientists and engineers, and trading with each other as equals. The transition hasn't been easy, Admiral Nakamura admitted. Change never is, but those worlds are already more prosperous and stable than they were under Vorthak rule. And Prime Counselor? Chen added with a slight smile. They're grateful to humanity for showing them that change was possible, which means they're natural allies for Earth in any future conflicts. The implications of that statement were not lost on Zephyrnell. His crystal form pulsed in patterns that human xenobiologists had learned to associate with deep concern. Ambassador Admiral, are you suggesting that humanity intends to create a separate power block within the galactic community? We're suggesting that freedom is contagious, Prime Counselor, Admiral Nakamura replied. When people see others living in liberty and prosperity, they start wanting the same things for themselves. Americans learned that lesson 250 years ago during our own revolution, but we're not trying to create an empire or a power block, Chen clarified. Death is made for many of them. We're trying to create a galaxy where every species gets to determine its own future, where governments exist to serve their people, not the other way around. She paused, studying Zephyrnell's agitated form. Prime Counselor, let me ask you directly. What is the Council afraid of? That humans will conquer the galaxy? Or that we won't have to? The question hung in the air for long moments before Zephyrnell responded. The Council fears irrelevance, Ambassador. For thousands of years, we have maintained order through established hierarchies and traditional power structures. If every species can achieve prosperity and security independently, if every world can defend itself with human-supplied technology, if every government must justify its authority to its own people, what purpose does the Council serve? Admiral Nakamura and Ambassador Chen exchanged glances. This was the conversation they had known was coming since the standoff 6 months ago. Prime Counselor, Chen said gently, the Council serves whatever purpose you choose to serve. You can try to preserve the old systems and fight a war you can't win against ideas that are already spreading across the galaxy. Or you can help us build something better. What humanity is offering, Admiral Nakamura added, isn't the destruction of galactic civilization. It's the evolution of galactic civilization. A system based on cooperation instead of domination. On mutual benefit instead of exploitation. On the consent of the governed instead of the authority of the powerful. Zephyrnell's form went completely still, the crystalline equivalent of deep thought. And if the Council chooses evolution
over preservation?
Then you'll have 8 billion Americans and 50 trillion newly liberated beings working to help you build a galaxy that works for everyone, Chen replied.
If you choose preservation. She didn't finish the sentence, but the implication was clear.
You'll have 8 billion Americans and 50 trillion newly liberated beings working to build that galaxy anyway, Admiral Nakamura concluded. The only difference is whether the Council participates in shaping the future or gets left behind by it. The transmission remained silent for several minutes. Finally, Zephyrnell spoke. The Council will consider humanity's perspective on galactic evolution. However, I must inform you that not all Council members share the same flexibility regarding change. We know, Prime Counselor, Chen replied. Change is never easy, and it's never universal. But it's also never optional. The galaxy is changing whether the Council approves or not. The only question is whether that change happens with your guidance or despite your opposition. There is one more matter, Zephyrnell continued. Several Council members have requested clarification regarding human military capabilities. The extensive nature of your defensive preparations was not fully understood during your membership application. Admiral Nakamura smiled, and this time there was no warmth in the expression. Prime Counselor, let me clarify this for any Council members who might be considering military solutions to the human problem. Everything you saw during the standoff 6 months ago was our defensive capability. What you didn't see was our offensive capability. She gestured toward the observation ports, where the massive embassy station continued its construction. We're Americans, Prime Counselor. We don't build things just to defend ourselves. We build things to make sure the people who threaten us regret their life choices. The Sol system is protected by the most powerful military force in galactic history, but Sol system is just our home base.
Admiral,
Zephyrnell said carefully.
Are you implying that humanity possesses military capabilities beyond what was demonstrated during the standoff?
I'm not implying anything, Prime Counselor. I'm stating directly that any council member who thinks they can solve their human problem through military action will discover that Americans are much better at breaking things than we are at building them.
Ambassador Chen placed a restraining hand on the Admiral's arm. What Admiral Nakamura means, Prime Counselor, is that humanity prefers peaceful solutions to galactic challenges.
But we're prepared to defend ourselves and our allies if peaceful solutions prove impossible. Our allies now include 50 worlds that were liberated from oppressive governments, 17 species that are developing with human assistance, and about half the original council members who have decided they like freedom better than hierarchy, Admiral Nakamura added.
That's a lot of people who would be very unhappy if something unfortunate happened to Earth. Zephyrnel's form pulsed in acknowledgement. The Council will carefully consider all aspects of the current situation before determining the most appropriate course of action. That's all we ask, Prime Counselor, Chen replied. But while you're considering, remember that Americans have been dealing with this kind of decision for 2.5 centuries. We know how it ends.
How does it end, Ambassador? Chen smiled, and this time the warmth was genuine. With freedom, Prime Counselor.
It always ends with freedom. The only question is how long it takes and how much fighting happens along the way. The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Nakamura and Ambassador Chen alone in the ready room.
Outside the observation ports, construction continued on humanity's embassy to the stars, a symbol of Earth's commitment to galactic civilization, and a reminder of what Americans could build when they set their minds to it. Think they'll choose evolution over preservation? Nakamura asked.
Chen considered the question carefully. Some will, others won't. But it doesn't matter, Admiral. The choice isn't really theirs to make. How so? Because Americans don't ask permission to be free. And we don't ask permission to help other people become free. The galaxy is changing because that's what galaxies do when Americans arrive. Admiral Nakamura nodded, turning back to watch the construction work outside. Somewhere in the vast structure taking shape beyond the viewports, human engineers were installing systems that would allow Earth to coordinate with allies across dozens of star systems, defense networks that could protect entire sectors, communication arrays that could carry the message of human liberty to every corner of the galaxy. The universe had mocked humanity once, dismissing them as weak primitives who needed protection from their own limitations. But the universe was learning what Americans had known for centuries, that freedom wasn't a gift bestowed by the strong upon the weak. Freedom was something people took for themselves, defended with their lives, and shared with anyone brave enough to reach for it.
And Americans had always been very good at teaching that lesson.